Welcome to Military History Inside Out, covering wars and battles from across the globe and across the ages. Today's episode is a dramatized performance based on a historic battle.
Warning. This episode contains descriptions of violence and expressions of bigotry which may be disturbing. This language is used to educate listeners about attitudes and biases of the period so that they may better understand the events. Listener discretion is advised.
Thank you, and enjoy.
Today's battle, the attack on Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941, part of World War II. First point of view, introduction and chronology of events, the United States. The view from Oahu. Special bulletin, United States radio broadcast. Station KGU, Honolulu, NBC affiliate. Date, December 7th, 1941. Status, emergency interruption. We interrupt this regularly scheduled broadcast for an urgent bulletin. This is not a drill. I repeat, this is not a drill. Ladies and gentlemen, the unimaginable has happened. The naval and air forces of the Empire of Japan have launched a surprise attack on the United States Pacific Fleet right here at Pearl Harbor. The time is now shortly past noon, but the devastation began early this morning under what we thought were the peaceful, broken clouds of a Sunday sunrise. To understand the gravity of this moment, we must look at the storm that has been gathering on the horizon. For months, diplomatic cables have been burning between Washington and Tokyo. Tensions have reached a breaking point over the Japanese expansion into Indochina and China. The United States, in an effort to curb this aggression, placed a stranglehold on their supply lines, specifically an embargo on oil and scrap metal. We knew this would squeeze their war machine, which relies entirely on imported fuel to power their battleships and aircraft. We believed the presence of our fleet, the mighty Fortress Oahu, would act as a deterrent, a shield of steel parked in these shallow waters to keep the peace in the Pacific. We were wrong. The logistics of this battle are terrifying to comprehend. The enemy has brought a massive carrier strike force across thousands of miles of the northern Pacific, maintaining strict radio silence, effectively vanishing from our intelligence maps. They are striking us with carrier-based dive bombers and torpedo planes, agile aircraft that have outmaneuvered our defenses. Our own defenses, the great battleships of the Pacific Fleet, the Arizona, the Oklahoma, the West Virginia, are massive floating fortresses, heavily armored and bristling with 14 and 16-inch guns.
But they are currently moored in Battleship Row, 237 sitting ducks in the narrow channel of the harbor. Our air power, the P-40 Warhawks and B-17 Flying Fortresses at Hickam and Wheeler Fields, were parked wing to wing to prevent sabotage on the ground, making them perfect targets for incendiary rounds from above.
The geography of Pearl Harbor itself plays a cruel role today. The harbor is shallow, usually thought to be too shallow for aerial torpedoes to function effectively without hitting the bottom mud. The enemy seems to have overcome this technical impossibility. The harbor entrance is narrow, bottling our fleet inside. To the north, the Kolo mountain range provided a screen for the approaching enemy planes, allowing them to utilize the terrain to mask their approach on radar until the very last second. The weather this morning was fair, with scattered clouds at 2,000 feet, perfect visibility for bombardiers, yet enough cloud cover to hide their approach from the sea. The trade winds were blowing from the northeast. It was a perfect morning for a flight. And now, columns of black smoke are blotting out the Hawaiian sun. We are at war.
Timeline of events, United States Pacific Fleet. Transcript log, combat narratives. 0342 hours, the early warning. This is the minesweeper USS Condor. We have sighted a periscope in the defensive zone off the harbor entrance. Repeat, submerged contact in a restricted area. We are alerting the destroyer USS Ward to investigate. Visibility is poor in the pre-dawn darkness, but something is out there. 0637 hours, the first shot. This is the USS Ward reporting. We have engaged an unidentified submarine trailing the repair ship Antares into the harbor. We have fired our number 1 and 3 guns. Depth charges dropped. The target has been neutralized. We are signaling the 14th Naval District immediately. This is a hostile intrusion. 0645 hours. The PBY Catalina joins the hunt. Patrol Wing 2 reporting. One of our PBY Catalina flying boats is assisting the Ward. We are dropping smoke markers on the suspected location of the intruder. We are still operating under the assumption this is an isolated incident, but the defensive perimeter is active. 0702 hours. The radar blip. Opana radar station to Fort Shafter. Private Lockhart and Private Elliott are reporting. We have a massive echo on the oscilloscope. It's the biggest blip we've ever seen, coming in from the north 137 miles out. There must be 50 or more planes. Wait. Lieutenant Tyler advises to disregard. He believes it is the flight of B-17s expected from the mainland. We are powering down equipment.
0753 hours. The air raid begins. Commander Logan C. Ramsey, Ford Island Command Center. Sound the alarm. We have unidentified aircraft diving on the seaplane ramp. I see the meatball insignia on the wings. This is not a drill. Signal all stations. Air raid Pearl Harbor X. This is not a drill.
0755 hours. Wheeler and Hickam fields hit. They are hitting the airfields. Dive bombers are swarming Wheeler and Hickam. Our planes are lined up on the tarmac. They're destroying them before we can get pilots in the cockpits. Hangars are exploding. It's chaos down here. We have almost no air cover getting off the ground. 0800 hours. The B-17s arrive. Tragedy upon tragedy. The B-17s from California are arriving right now, unarmed and low on fuel. They are flying straight into the middle of the attack. They're being jumped by Japanese Zero fighters and shot at by our own nervous anti-aircraft fire. They're scattering, trying to find any patch of ground to land. 0805 hours. The Nevada makes a run. Incredible courage. The USS Nevada has cut her lines and is moving. She is the only battleship to get underway. Japanese dive bombers are swarming her, trying to sink her in the channel to bottle us up. Her forward guns are blazing, but she is taking heavy hits to the superstructure. 0810 hours. The loss of the Arizona. Oh God, a massive explosion on Battleship Row. A bomb has struck the forward magazine of the USS Arizona. The ship is lifted out of the water, a fireball 500 feet high. The heat is intense even from this distance. She is broken in two. Hundreds, maybe 1,000 men are trapped inside. She is sinking fast. 0817 hours. The helm breaks out. The destroyer USS Helm is the first underway. She's moving through the channel firing her anti-aircraft guns. She has spotted another midget submarine trying to slip into the harbor entrance. She's firing on the sub. We are fighting back.
0850 hours. The struggle of the Neosho. The fleet oiler USS Neosho is maneuvering dangerously through the chaos. She is filled with high-octane aviation fuel, a floating bomb. Commander Phillips is steering her away from Battleship Row to save the fleet from a fiery oil slick. It is a miracle she hasn't been hit yet.
0854 hours. The second wave. We have a lull. No, wait. Here they come again. The second wave is overhead. High-level bombers and more dive bombers. They seem to be targeting the dry docks and the battleship Pennsylvania. The anti-aircraft fire from the fleet is much heavier now. Black puffs of smoke fill the sky. Our boys are putting up a wall of steel. 0930 hours. The attack concludes. The skies are clearing of enemy aircraft. They are turning back north. The harbor is a ruin of burning oil and twisted metal. The Nevada, which tried to make a run for the sea, has beached herself at Hospital Point to avoid blocking the channel. The attack appears to be over, but the rescue operations are just beginning. The water is on fire. 10:30 hours. Martial law declared. Governor Poindexter has declared a state of emergency. Martial law is in effect across the territory. Residents are ordered to stay off the streets. Rumors of enemy paratroopers landing at St. Louis Heights are unconfirmed, but panic is spreading. Stay indoors, keep your radios tuned.
Second point of view, the Japanese.
Imperial General Headquarters announcement. Source: Daihonne Hapio, Imperial General Headquarters. Date: December 8, 1941, Tokyo time. December 7, 1941, Hawaii time. Transmission: NHK Radio Network. Loyal subjects of the Emperor. Today, the Imperial Japanese Navy has risen to break the iron circle of encirclement that has threatened the very existence of our sacred nation. We interrupt all programming to announce that Imperial Naval and Air Forces have carried out a devastating surprise attack on the American fleet and air forces in the Hawaii area. For years, the arrogant powers of the West, America, Britain, China, and the Dutch have conspired to deny Japan her rightful place as the leader of East Asia. The United States, hiding behind the mask of diplomacy, severed our lifelines, enforcing a brutal embargo on oil and steel. They sought to strangle our industry and ground our fleets, demanding we abandon our brothers in Asia. They believed that by cutting off our fuel, the lifeblood of modern warfare, they could force the empire to its knees. They underestimated the spirit of Yamato. Our strategists realized that to secure the resources of the southern seas, the rubber and oil essential for our survival, we first had to neutralize the dagger pointed at our throat, the American Pacific Fleet stationed at Pearl Harbor.
The logistics of this operation are a triumph of imperial engineering and discipline. Our Kido Butai, the mobile force consisting of 6 aircraft carriers, including the Akagi and Kaga, has traversed the rough, stormy waters of the northern Pacific in total radio silence. Our pilots, the Eagles of the Navy, fly the Supreme Mitsubishi A6M0, a fighter with range and agility unmatched by the clumsy American machines.
Crucially, our engineers conquered the terrain of the enemy's harbor. The Americans believed the shallow waters of Pearl Harbor, a mere 40 feet deep, would protect them from torpedo attacks. They were foolish. Our technicians developed innovative wooden stabilizers for our Type 91 torpedoes, allowing them to drop from our Nakajima B-5N Kate bombers, skim the surface, and strike through without striking the harbor floor. The weather has blessed our mission. Heavy seas masked our approach, and high cloud cover over the target area provided the element of surprise, while clear skies beneath allowed for precise targeting. The enemy was asleep, confident in their Sunday leisure. Now they awake to the dawn of a new order in the Pacific.
Timeline of events. Imperial Japanese Navy, Kido Butai. Operational log, Operation Z. 042 hours. The Special Attack Unit, the mother submarines have released the 5 Kohyoteki midget submarines. These brave warriors will penetrate the harbor defenses from below, while we strike from above. They sail to certain death for the glory of the Emperor, tasked with striking the enemy battleships from within their own harbor. 0600 hours. Launch of the first wave. The heavy seas pitch the flight decks of the Akagi and Hiryu, but the spirit of our pilots is steady. Commander Fuchida leads the takeoff. 183 aircraft, Kate, torpedo bombers, Val, dive bombers, and Zero fighters roar into the northern sky. They form up and bank south toward the target. The sun rises behind them, the rising sun flag guiding their path. 0620 hours, the scout planes. Reconnaissance planes from the cruisers Chikuma and Ton have successfully overflown the enemy harbor unnoticed. They report the American fleet is at anchor. No carriers are present. A disappointment, but the battleship row is full. 9 battleships are counted. The prize is waiting. 0740 hours. Deployment ordered. Commander Fuchida, viewing the island of Oahu through breaks in the clouds, sees no defensive fighters in the air. He slides his canopy back and fires a single blue flare, the signal to deploy for the attack. The surprise is complete. The Black Dragon is loose. 0749 hours. Tora, Tora, Tora. Success! Commander Fuchida radios the code words Tora, Tora, Tora. Tiger, Tiger, Tiger. This indicates complete strategic and tactical surprise has been achieved. The American anti-aircraft guns are silent. Their radios are playing music. We begin the slaughter. 0755 hours. Suppression of air defenses. Our dive bombers and fighters strike the enemy airfields at Wheeler and Kaneho first. We must ground their air force to protect our torpedo bombers. The enemy planes are parked in neat rows, making for easy destruction. Strafing runs are igniting their fuel tanks. Black smoke rises, marking our first victories. 0800 hours. The torpedo strikes. The specialized torpedo squadrons descend to water level. They approach the battleship row from the southeast lock. The American ships Oklahoma and West Virginia take massive hits. The modified torpedoes run through in the shallow water. The ships are listing heavily. The enemy is in panic. 0810 hours. Destruction of the Arizona. A high-level bomber from the Kaga scores a direct hit on the battleship Arizona. A modified armor-piercing shell penetrates the deck and ignites the forward magazine. A catastrophic explosion. The shockwave is felt by our pilots thousands of feet above. The pride of the American fleet is broken. 0830 hours. The carrier Kaga reports Air Group Commander, regarding the Kaga's bomber squadron. Targeting of the American carrier Enterprise was impossible as she is not in port. Secondary target selected. We are concentrating fire on the battleship Nevada, which attempts to flee. We must not allow her to block the channel.
0854 hours. The arrival of the second wave.
The first wave withdraws as the second wave, commanded by Lieutenant Commander Shimazaki, arrives. 171 additional aircraft. The element of surprise is gone. American anti-aircraft fire is intensifying. Smoke obscures the targets, but our pilots dive through the curtains of fire to finish the wounded ships. 0900 hours. Air supremacy established. Our Zero fighters patrol the skies, challenging the few American planes that managed to take off. Several American P-40s are shot down. We own the sky over Oahu. The enemy response is uncoordinated and desperate. 0945 hours. The withdrawal. Commander Fuchida circles the devastation one last time to assess the battle damage. The destruction is total. He orders the return to the carriers. We leave behind a fleet in flames. We have lost only 29 aircraft, a small price for the neutralization of the American Pacific threat. 10:15 hours. The decision to withdraw. Admiral Nagumo stands on the bridge of the Akagi. The staff debates a third strike to destroy the American fuel depots and dry docks. The Admiral speaks. We have achieved our objective. The risk of spotting American carriers is too great. The order is given to withdraw. We turn for home.
1300 hours. Recovery and victory. The last of our aircraft are landing back on the carriers. The pilots are jubilant. Admiral Nagumo orders the fleet to turn for home. We have accomplished our mission. The Pacific is now open to the Empire.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Military History Inside Out. Today's episode has been a dramatized performance based on historical events. Listeners are encouraged to research the precise details of the event covered. We welcome all comments, questions, corrections, or criticism of the episode on any of our social media links. On Instagram at Chris Alvarez War Scholar, on X at War Scholar, on Facebook at warscholar.org, and on Reddit at MHIO Podcast. You can also suggest battles that you would like to hear on the podcast. Visit warscholar.org for more social media and Discord community links. Please check back regularly for more episodes and provide likes where you can to support continued production of these episodes. Thank you for listening.